Let's just dive right in and tackle that incredibly frustrating, slow-draining bathroom sink. Look, we've all been there, right? You're just trying to brush your teeth, and suddenly the dirty water is creeping up toward the rim. But today, we aren't just going to blindly pour things down the drain and hope for the best. We're going to treat this like a real medical diagnosis. In this explainer, we'll examine exactly what's going on in your plumbing, how to identify the specific problem, and most importantly, how to actually cure it without causing any further damage.
Here's our treatment plan for today. We'll quickly cover the anatomy of a clog, how to diagnose your drain, some DIY drain treatments, when it's time to call a pro, and finally, preventing those future blockages.
Section 1. The anatomy of a clog. Let's look at what's going on inside.
So what is actually choking your pipe? It's incredibly tempting to think of a blocked drain as just a single mystery object that accidentally fell down there. But a clogged bathroom sink is rarely just one thing. Instead, what you're dealing with is a highly effective, gradual buildup of everyday materials. It's a slow, steady process. Over time, these materials combine inside the drain pipe and start collecting along the bends, the traps, and the narrower sections of your plumbing. And really, understanding this gradual accumulation is absolutely key to stopping it from happening again.
So who are the usual suspects here? Well, these are the primary offenders that go down your drain daily and conspire to ruin your morning routine. We're talking about hair from shedding and shaving, sticky soap scum, everyday toothpaste residue, and those completely invisible hard water minerals. On their own, they might seem totally harmless, but together, they form a highly disruptive team.
What's really fascinating and kind of gross is how hair acts as the master anchor for everything else. Hair is by far the most frequent culprit we face. Even if you don't actively notice it washing down the drain, the daily shedding from brushing, washing, and shaving inevitably makes its way into the pipe. Once it's down there, these strands tangle up with soap residue and other debris, forming this horrifying little swamp monster. It essentially creates a physical, evil fishing net that water simply cannot push through.
And notice how the other culprits support that hair trap. Soap and toothpaste literally stick to the inside of the pipe. As they accumulate, they narrow the flow path and catch even more debris, like lint and skin particles. Then, if you have hard water, well, minerals are accumulating on the pipe surfaces too. This reduces the pipe's diameter and creates rough, jagged spots perfectly designed to catch absolutely everything flowing past. If your faucet has mineral scale on the outside, I guarantee this is happening inside your pipes too.
Section 2. Diagnosing your drain. Let's read the symptoms.
Okay. Before you grab a single tool, start by simply observing the pattern of the clog. Ask yourself, is the sink just draining slowly, or does the water back up almost immediately? Does the problem seem to trigger right after someone shaves or does heavy hair washing? These clues are vital. They can literally tell you whether you're dealing with a localized hair and gunk buildup near the surface, a stubborn blockage stuck in the trap, or a much more serious buildup further down the main line.
Your next diagnostic step is to look under the sink at the P-trap. You want to check if this specific curved pipe area is dry enough to safely inspect. This is critical because in many cases, the blockage is located right close to where the sink drain connects to this P-trap. And here's the good news. If the clog is right here, it is vastly faster and easier to clear than a deeper issue down the line.
Section 3. DIY drain treatments. This is first aid for your sinks. So if the drain is slow but not completely blocked, you always want to start with the absolute simplest option, the plunger. But you gotta use it correctly. First, use a cup-style plunger specifically designed for sinks. Please do not grab the toilet plunger for very obvious hygiene reasons. Now, if your sink has an overflow opening near the rim, you must seal it off. Just cover it tightly with a damp cloth so the pressure actually goes down the drain and not just out the hole. Apply steady pressure, repeat a few times, and often that's enough to shift the clog and completely restore the flow. Now, if your diagnostic clues pointed toward hair, say the sink backed up right after a shave, a drain snake or cable tool is your most direct and best DIY solution. The key here is your technique. You want to carefully lower the tool into the drain and literally feel for the resistance. Once you hit the clog, rotate or pull back to retrieve the mass. And here is the golden rule, folks. Never ever force the snake against firm resistance. If you push too hard, you risk compacting the clog and pushing it even deeper into the pipe system.
What if you suspect the issue is that sticky soap scum and toothpaste buildup we talked about earlier? You might be tempted to reach for a chemical cleaner. But hold on, you really want to choose an enzymatic drain cleaner or one specifically formulated for bathroom lines. These products are incredible for eating away gradual buildup safely, though, yeah, they do take a bit longer to work.
The alternative, harsh chemical cleaners, can actually cause significant damage to your pipes, especially if you try to forcefully use them repeatedly on a completely stuck drain. Always prioritize the safer enzymatic option and make sure the room is well ventilated. For partial clogs, and if you're comfortable getting a little hands-on, removing the P-trap directly is an incredibly effective surgical strike. You can totally do this. It takes all the guesswork out of the equation. Just be absolutely sure to place a bucket underneath first because it will be messy. Loosen the slip nuts, drop the trap, and visually inspect it. You can clear out the hair, the sludge, and the debris right there into your bucket. Once it's completely clean, just reinstall the trap carefully, making sure the connections are tight to prevent any leaks under your vanity.
Section 4. When to call a pro. Let's go over the red flags you need to watch out for.
If you encounter any of these red flags, it is time to call a licensed plumber. If you've plunged and snaked and the water still won't budge, or if you clear a clog only for it to return aggressively a week later, you have a bigger issue. Even more alarming, hearing weird gurgling sounds coming from the drain, or noticing that multiple fixtures like your sink and your shower are draining poorly at the exact same time. These symptoms are screaming that you're dealing with an obstruction much deeper in the main drain line, way beyond the reach of your DIY tools.
When you do call a professional, they don't just guess. Licensed plumbers have access to advanced diagnostic tools like video camera inspections and hydrojetting. They run a camera straight down the line to visually identify the exact location and the material of the blockage. This completely eliminates trial and error, saving you time and preventing damage. Then, using tools like hydrojetting, which blasts highly pressurized water right through the lines, they can clear the obstruction safely without causing the kind of pipe damage you'd get from impatiently dumping harsh chemicals down a fully blocked sink. Section 5. Preventing future blockages. It's all about your daily sink habits. Prevention all comes down to controlling what actually enters the pipe. The absolute best thing you can do is use a simple, cheap drain strainer to catch hair and debris before it vanishes down the hole. Get into the habit of giving the drain a quick, strong rinse after shaving to push any stragglers through. Also, wipe heavy grease or sticky toothpaste residue off the sink basin with a paper towel, instead of just washing it all down into the trap. And if you know you have hard water, look into maintenance steps to soften it. That'll vastly reduce that rough mineral accumulation inside the pipe. By adopting these really simple habits, you can completely stop that frustrating slow drain cycle before it even starts.
So here's the final thought I want to leave you with. You now know exactly how the innocent combination of hair, soap, and hard water minerals secretly conspires against your plumbing deep inside those pipes. But more importantly, you have the power to stop it. Take a look at your morning routine. What small, easy step, like popping in a drain strainer or just wiping away that leftover toothpaste, will you take today to keep the plumber away tomorrow? Think about it. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and here's to clear pipes and completely stress-free mornings.